everything you have been taught about nutrition is wrong. Not slightly wrong, but fundamentally wrong.
What?
And I'm talking about the clean eating, cutting carbs, boosting your metabolism, eating small meals every 3 hours so your body doesn't go into starvation mode. The thing is that none of this works the way you think it does.
What?
And that is not really your fault. You've just been handed a bunch of different rules and you don't understand why you're following any of them.
Oh, okay.
The thing about not understanding why you're doing something makes you just question everything and feel insecure and confused about the whole process. Keeps you stuck for years because you don't understand what you're doing. In the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna take you through exactly how your body works. We're gonna get detailed into the real biology of why you're not losing fat, why you're losing muscle, and why every diet you've tried just doesn't work. And by the end of this video, you're not just gonna know what to do, but you're gonna know why you do the things that you do. And that changes everything. My name is Karina, aka the Protein Princess. I'm a certified nutritionist, weight management specialist, and online coach. And I have spent the past 3 years working with women, transforming their lives, helping them reframe their whole relationship with food and their body image, helping them really understand the whole process of how to actually make the change that you want. And I haven't achieved this through extreme diets or overnight fixes, but rather by teaching them what I'm going to teach you in this video. I have spoken to women who feel like they've tried everything. A lot of them come to me and they tell me that they've been doing everything right for months, but still nothing is happening. But once they understand how their body works, it's like a light switch. Everything just suddenly makes sense. And that is what this video is going to do for you, so let's get into it. What is nutrition and why would you even care? A lot of people think that nutrition means diet rules. Do this, don't do that. But that's not what it actually is. Put very simply, nutrition is just understanding what your body, specifically your body, needs to function, to perform, recover, and how you're gonna change it. And the one thing that people seem to miss a lot of the time is that your body is running 24/7, 7 days a week, all the time. Your body is working right now in this very second. As you're watching this video, your body is digesting food, producing hormones, regulating your blood sugars, and all of these things are happening without you even doing anything. And this has to do with your nutrition, because your nutrition is the fuel for all of these processes. If you think about it, when your nutrition is off, you're not just gonna gain weight or be stuck not getting the results you want, but you will probably feel quite tired, exhausted even. Your sleep quality might be taking a hit, or it's harder to manage your mood. Your hormones could go out of balance. There are so many things that your nutrition affects. It affects everything in your body. And a lot of people want to overcomplicate it and bring other excuses into it. Maybe it's their age, it's their life situation, it's their genetics. But in a lot of cases, it's just about what you're eating or not eating. And one of the most important things I want you to take away from this section is that your diet is not failing because you don't have the willpower. A lot of people have a lot of willpower and they're working so hard to get after their goals, but you don't understand why you're doing the things you're doing. You're doing 10K steps, you're eating a salad, you're doing all the right things, but it's just still not working because you don't understand why you're doing all the things that you're doing. But once you understand these things, you will stop struggling and everything will make sense. And that's exactly what we're building today. You have probably heard it before that everything in nutrition sits on top of one principle, which is calories in versus calories out. First, I want to get into explaining what a calorie is, because a lot of people have actually never even been told this and we just think of it as like this monster. Calorie, simply put, is just a unit of energy. Nothing more than that. It measures how much energy a food contains, and that's it. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a unit. In the same way that we measure kilograms or kilometers or pounds or whatever. And your body uses energy or spends these calories all the time to do all of these natural things like breathing, digesting food, thinking, all of these processes that you're not even thinking about. Even when you're lying completely still, your body is spending a lot of energy just keeping you alive. And these calories, or this energy, is called your metabolic rate. And when we talk about nutrition, a lot of people are thinking about their body composition and what they look like. And there's one simple truth that you have to acknowledge and realize, which is if you consistently consume more energy than you burn, your body stores the excess as fat. And if you consistently eat less than your body uses, your body will draw from your fat storage. And this is just basic science and it applies to everyone. Nobody is an exception here. One way that I like to visualize it to explain it better is to think of calories as a bank account. When you're eating food, that's your deposit, money coming in, energy coming into your bank. In your body's daily energy, like breathing or exercising or just walking, anything that your body spends energy doing is a withdrawal of that energy or that deposit that you put in earlier. And the balance of your bank account at the end of the day determines whether or not you maintain, lose, or gain fat. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of people doing, and I have been a victim of this myself before I started my entire fitness journey, is that you start by changing what you're eating without changing the amount of calories you're consuming. So even though it feels like you're doing everything right, you're always eating healthy, like you always choose a salad, you're swapping out your fries, and you're doing low carb options, all of this, and the scale still won't budge. And that is because even though you are eating healthier foods, you are still consuming the same amount of calories. There is nothing magical about healthy food that is going to make you lose fat. You cannot eat something to lose more fat. That's just not how anything works. The thing is that when you swap out that burger for a salad, the salad still has olive oil in it, croutons, salad dressings. There's so many more things in the salad that you're not thinking about that adds up to a lot of calories. And at the end of the day, even though the salad is healthy and maybe has better nutritional value, the calories are still the same. And you can't really out-exercise a large surplus of calories, so you stay stuck. Both sides of this equation matters, and before you can change it, you need to know what your baseline is. I'm gonna give you a couple takeaways from this video. So the first one is going to be, before even changing anything from your diet, track what you're currently eating for 3 to 5 days, or maybe even a week. Track everything. You can use an app like MyFitnessPal or LifeSum, and don't cheat yourself here. Don't do anything you wouldn't normally do. Eat exactly what you usually eat. The goal of this practice is not to judge yourself or try to be perfect or eat good. The goal here is to see what the truth actually is. You just have to be honest with yourself to see where are those calories actually coming from. And this one makes a lot of people shocked because they're not aware of all of these calories that are coming from maybe the milk in their coffee or their little snack in between work shifts. Most people have no idea what their calorie intake actually looks like. You don't have to track calories forever, but it's a really good thing to do, at least to have practice, so you have a bit more awareness of what contains what, because you can't really change what you can't see. Let's talk protein.
Awesome, I love protein.
I know you love protein. I love protein too.
Protein is arguably one of the most important macros for someone who is trying to change how they look and feel. And it's the one that a lot of people undereat. I'm gonna explain why it matters so much, and it's not just about muscle gain and being big and strong. Protein is made up of amino acids. Amino acids are the literal building blocks of your body, and they are used to construct and repair almost everything, from muscle tissue to hormones, enzymes that run your metabolism, immune cells that fight infection, and even the structure of your skin and hair. Your body needs a constant supply of all of this to keep your body functioning, especially if you're working out, but even for individuals who are not physically active, protein is so important. But why is it important even if you're not trying to build muscle or get stronger? A lot of people tend to forget that protein is so much more. Your body is constantly breaking down and building up new tissue, regardless of the gym. Old proteins are broken down and new ones are built, and this happens every single day. All the time. This is called muscle protein synthesis, and it just never stops. The question is, are you giving your body enough protein to keep this up, or is your body going to have to get this from somewhere else? Because if your protein intake is low, your body is going to extract proteins from your muscle tissue. And this is a big part of the reason that people that go on certain diets also don't just lose fat and body weight, but they also lose muscle mass. They might get a little bit slimmer, but they're not getting that toned look. I know a lot of people want to look toned, although toned is really just muscular but low body fat. But that's just in terms of aesthetics. And a lack of protein also causes other problems, which I will get into in a moment. But protein, in terms of how you're feeling, is also so important because it's the most satiating macronutrient of them all. And it also takes a lot more energy to digest. Protein is the macronutrient with the highest thermic effect, which means that your body spends a lot more energy digesting it than it would with carbohydrates or fats. The second practical takeaway I want you to take from this is to add a protein source to every single meal. And that can be chicken, egg, tuna, yogurt, or protein powder.
We know you love protein.
A rough starting target for women is usually about 100 to 140 grams, somewhere around there. Of course, you don't have to hit this perfectly, but and to build your meals around protein sources. It makes the world of a difference in terms of how you're gonna feel. It keeps you full for so much longer. And another pro tip from me is that if you typically eat 3 meals in a day, you can take your entire protein intake, let's say it's this number, and then you divide it by 3. That's how many proteins you should have in each meal. I know that when people first start tracking and they hear, oh, I have to eat 140 grams of protein, that sounds like a big and scary number, but it doesn't have to be. You just have to be a little smart, plan around it, and learn where to get those protein sources from. Carbohydrates is maybe the most misunderstood and demonized macronutrient. Carbohydrates get the blame for everything, and they have for the past 30 years. Weight gain, inflammation, blood sugar problem, everything is the carbohydrates' fault, but it's not. I think demonizing carbohydrates is one of the most damaging myths that we have had throughout nutritional history, because cutting carbs too aggressively make people feel terrible. Let me explain how carbohydrates work. When you consume carbohydrates, your body breaks it down into glucose, a sugar. Sugar, or glucose, is your body's preferred energy source. Your brain runs almost entirely on glucose. And your body needs it when it's working out. Your muscles need glucose. And in your liver, it will be stored as glycogen for fast energy when you need it. Again, to visualize it, you can think of it like a tank, like as in a car tank. When you consume carbohydrates, you are filling up this tank. And when your tank is full, you can go for a long drive, you can go for a long run. You have a lot of energy and you feel good. Your brain is sharp and your mood is probably a lot more stable. But what happens when that tank is empty? You feel tired, moody, maybe even hangry. You just don't feel your best. And this is exactly why low carb diets or keto diets make people feel terrible. And a lot of people pushing these low carb diets are explaining it as a detoxifying feeling, or it's your body's cleansing and whatnot, but that's just not right. The other thing, especially about low carb diets, is that it confuses people because they see the results on the scale. When you cut carbs, your glycogen drops and water follows. So in just maybe even a week, you can drop 2-3 kilos of body weight. But that is not fat, that is water weight. And I think this is the reason that low carb diets have become so popular, because people see results so quickly. But you didn't lose the fat, you lost water. And that's not the goal. When you go back to a normal diet and you increase your carb, the weight also comes back. You are refilling that glycogen and more water retention is gonna come back. The real problem with carbs is not really carbs itself. Carbs are great. It's the type of carb that you are consuming. A lot of people get their carbs mostly from sugary food or drink. These types of fast carbs, like candy or sugary drinks, and all of these are going to increase your insulin and spike your blood sugar, which is also going to drop, and you're gonna have this unstable source of energy, which is not what you want. You want to choose good, solid, high quality carb sources like potato, rice, oat, sweet potato, or like fruits, which are genuinely also good for your body. So the third practical takeaway is don't cut carbs, they're not bad. Improve them instead. Just by swapping your ultra processed, high sugary carbs by some more high quality carbs, you will feel a way more stable energy level and fuller, and you're probably going to eat less as a result of it as well. I like to put most of my carbs around my workout, so I have good energy right before my workout, and to refill the repairing process right after. And the best way to efficiently use carbs is to also pair it with a protein source and a vegetable source to slow the digestion and uptake and give you the most stable release of energy. Getting into the last macronutrient, which is fat, and I want to talk a little about why going low fat can backfire. Fat is the most calorie dense macronutrient, which makes a lot of people think that it's a bad thing because it's high calorie. Fat has 9 calories per gram, which is a lot more compared to protein and carbs. But that doesn't mean that we should demonize it. Talk to a lot of people who think that fat is bad for you, and fat is really good for you in moderate amounts and the right types of fat. But if it's the highest calorie macronutrient, doesn't that mean that cutting fats will also cut the calories? Well, yes, but the problem is that people don't know why we need fat. What is it for? It's not optional. You have to consume fat. It is essential for your body to function, and especially women. First of all, fat is very important for the production of different hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol. And if you cut fat completely or way too low, your hormones are going to suffer from it. For women especially, this can affect your cycle, your mood, your skin, everything. It is so important. Second of all, every single cell in your body has a membrane which is partly made from fat. Fat is literally a part of your structure at a cellular level. So why does it make sense to cut it out?
Third point, which is incredibly important, is that vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat soluble. What does this mean?
It means that if you eat a salad, which is perfectly healthy, but there's no fat in the salad, your body is not going to be able to break down and absorb those vitamins as good. You do actually need fats in order for vegetables and greens to do the good it needs for you. The extreme low fat era was definitely one of the biggest mistakes in history of nutrition. When they removed the fat from food, they just added sugar because they needed it to still taste good. The result of this is that in a lot of cases, the original product was a lot better than when they removed the fat and added the sugar, and now it's actually not as good for you as it could have been. Which brings us over to the practical takeaway number 4, which is to include a healthy fat in your diet. Avocado, oils, nuts. There are so many good sources of fat that are healthy and very good for you and that are actually essential for your health. Going low fat is now going to make you lose fat. Again, it's the calories in versus calories out. Fat was never the enemy, but rather the calorie surplus that fat can create is again the problem. Now that we have covered some of the most important basics of your macronutrients, we need to talk about metabolic adaptation, when it feels like your body is kind of fighting back. This section is something that I wish someone had explained to me years and years ago when I was stuck struggling and not understanding why it felt like my body was working against me. Because it does explain something that people who are on a diet usually struggle with and often also blame themselves for, when in reality it's not your fault that this is happening. In a lot of cases, you have been eating less for many weeks and you have been progressing, you have been doing so good in so many ways, and suddenly it kind of stagnates or stops completely and you're not doing anything differently. You're eating the same, your workouts are the same, suddenly nothing is working anymore. Then a lot of people start to eat even less and less, but then still nothing happens. If this sounds familiar, I will explain to you exactly why it's happening. Your body is actually doing exactly what it is supposed to do through evolution. When you consistently eat less than you are supposed to, your body's survival responses activate. This has been developed over hundreds and thousands of years to survive famine. When you have less food, your body adapts and it becomes more efficient. And essentially your body reduces how much calories you're burning throughout the day to save that energy because you don't have enough energy to take from. More specifically, a hormone called leptin, which signals fullness to your brain, drops. And another hormone called ghrelin, which signals hunger, rises. And at this point, you might start feeling hungrier even if you're eating the exact same thing. Your body's natural response is also to reduce movements in your everyday life. The same way that I'm doing right now with my hands, all of these extra little movements will disappear. You can definitely tell, especially by people who have been dieting for a long time or like bodybuilders, they've been in a calorie deficit for long. They become monotone, voice changes, low energy. And all of these movements, like I am doing with my hands right now, and all of this extra energy that I'm spending just talking to you is called NEAT. NEAT is short for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. NEAT is all of the activities that you're doing subconsciously and just regular motions throughout the day. But it is so underestimated because it can add up to hundreds of calories every single day. And the result of this is that the deficit you were in a couple weeks back doesn't exist anymore. And this is why a lot of diets fail, because you stop seeing progress and you're wondering what you're doing wrong. But you're not actually doing anything wrong. It's just your body that is really good at surviving and adapting. This means that the answer is not always to eat less and eat less, because your body will adapt to it and you will lose more muscle mass and you will feel more tired. And eventually you will fail because you can't sustain it anymore. So the fifth practical takeaway from this is that if you've been in a calorie deficit for 8 to 12 weeks and your progress has started to stall and you're starting to feel tired and you're noticing it's taking a toll on your body, it's time for a diet break. It will vary from person to person and how long the diet has been, but 1 to 2 weeks should help you stabilize your hormones and get back up again. For some it might take longer, for some it might not take as long. It's very individual and you need to check in with yourself how you're feeling and how you're doing. Using these diet breaks really helps you get back that energy and get that NEAT going again and give you more energy to push through another cutting phase. And it's not about going backwards, it's just 1 or 2 weeks, maybe even 3. A really common reason that people struggle with their diet is also due to cravings. And most people seem to think that cravings are mostly just a willpower problem and you're undisciplined if you can't stop yourself from having a little snack. And although that is part of the reason, it's not the entire truth. Really severe cravings are often blood sugar signals. What is actually happening when you are having these cravings? In a lot of cases, you have had some kind of fast carbohydrate, especially very processed carbohydrates like candy, soda. And what actually happens is that when you consume fast carbohydrates like chocolate or any type of candy, soda, all of these sugary processed carbs, your blood sugar is going to rise very quickly. And your pancreas will then release insulin to transfer that glucose into your cells. And if that rise was too fast, the insulin will overshoot and your blood sugar will drop below where it started. Then your body will send you a signal that you need to eat something fast, preferably something sweet, like chocolate. And that is a craving. Your brain is responding to a blood sugar crash. And these cravings can really be controlled if you balance your meals better. You need more structure in your meals in order to avoid these unstable blood sugar spikes. Fiber will help you slow the digestion of carbohydrates. Pairing carbohydrates with fiber, protein, and vegetables is gonna help you a lot with this. So in short, practical takeaway number 6 is to not have carbs by itself. Have it paired with something. Have some yogurt with your fruit, have some chicken with your rice, and so on. Just by implementing this one habit, you can significantly reduce your cravings throughout your everyday life and make you feel a lot more satiated. We have talked about proteins, carbs, fats, and there's another layer that a lot of people tend to miss or ignore. This might help explain a little more why you've been feeling the way you have been feeling. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals, and they play such a big role, even though they don't directly give us energy in the same way that carbs do. But there are many things that they're also important for. There are processes in your body that cannot function the way they're supposed to, even though you have great macros. If your macros are lacking, you're still gonna feel like shit. I slightly touched upon this earlier with the fact that people exclude fats, and vitamin A, D, E, and K are fat soluble, so you need fats to absorb them. There are so many symptoms that can arise just from these deficiencies. Especially for women, one of the most common ones is iron deficiency, mostly due to our periods where we bleed a lot and we lose a lot of iron. And having an iron deficiency can cause so many problems, including fatigue, brain fog, bad restitution, you feel dizzy. Not a good thing. Vitamin D deficiency is also very common, especially in the north where I'm from, in Scandinavia, especially from Norway. So we don't see the sun a lot, and it's important to add in some extra vitamin D if you're not already getting it from the sun. Lack of magnesium can affect your sleep, your muscle, and how your body handles stress. And why I want to talk about this is that a lot of people are having these types of deficiencies, and you are maybe mistaking yourself from being unmotivated, lazy, tired, or whatnot, and maybe the answer is in a simple blood test. I recommend getting your blood work done every now and then. I do it myself just to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be, which brings me into the practical takeaway number 7, which is to eat a variety of colorful foods. And then I don't mean Skittles, I mean whole food. So that means every color kind of represents a separate micronutrient, and the more colors you have, the better. And of course, as I mentioned, go get your blood work done if you haven't in a while, because it might reveal some things that you weren't aware of yourself. Your body is probably not broken. You're not lazy, not lacking discipline, and you're not doing anything wrong, really. You just need to put together these very basic principles and you'll see great changes already. Your body is running on a very logical and ancient system that is made for you to survive. And especially if you've been dieting for a long time, your body might be a little in survival mode, which is completely normal. I think it's important to sometimes remind ourselves that our body was built to help us survive, not to stay lean all the time. And especially in today's social media where everyone's promoting being absolutely shredded all year round, which is not healthy for most people. And once you understand these systems, it's easier to build around it and work with it. So to summarize what we went through today is calories are units of energy, and they're not good or bad, and they're what decides what our weight is at the end of the day. Remember the bank deposits? Yeah. Protein rebuilds everything: muscle, hormones, enzymes, all of it. And without enough protein, your body takes it from your muscles. Carbs fuel your brain and body, and they are essential for your well-being and energy level. Carbs were never the problem, but having high quality carbs is what matters the most, and of course not eating in excess. Fat is essential for hormone production, cell structure, and vitamin absorption. Fat is not bad. Excluding it makes more problems than it solves. Your body will adapt to dieting after some time, and that's biology, that's not you failing. Cravings are often a blood sugar response, and the best way to deal with this is to structure your meals around protein and fiber. Micronutrients are also important, not just macronutrients, because micronutrients will also shape a lot about how you feel. Your 7 takeaways from this video, starting with number 1, track your intake for 3 to 5 days and don't make any changes to what you're eating. Just see your actual real baseline of what you're actually eating. Number 2 is adding protein to every single meal: chicken, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. Build your plate around protein first. Number 3, improve your carbs, don't cut them. Swap your processed carb sources for whole food sources, and prioritize eating carbs when you need them the most, like around your training. Number 4 is eating healthy fats daily. Avocado, oils, nuts, eggs. Don't go ultra low fat. If you've been dieting for many weeks or months, eat at maintenance for 1 to 2 weeks and reset before you're going on another cut. Number 6, pair every carb source with protein or fiber. This habit will help you control your cravings and stabilizing your energy levels throughout the day. Number 7, get your blood work done and check out if you have any deficiencies, because it might be the reason why you're feeling more tired or something is a little off. Everything that I just shared is just the foundation of nutrition. And this is the why and how your body works. But even with all this information, a lot of people don't really get stuck because of a lack of information. We all have the internet. It's more on the application. How are you gonna apply this in your everyday life? What are you gonna do when your progress has been stalling for 3 weeks and you're confused on what you're doing wrong? How are you gonna keep consistent when life feels like it's falling apart? What should your routine and structure actually look like? Not just some generic copy-pasted plan that someone else is doing, but what is actually specifically tailored to you? That is the personal side of it. And that's exactly where having someone in your corner can change everything. I work personally with a very few select women every single month, one-on-one, just me and them, going through exactly this and how we can make it work for them. We look at your situation and tailor it to you, because not everyone has time for 10K steps or 5 days of workouts in a week. You cannot copy-paste programs, meal plans. You have to make it specific to each person. And if you feel like you've been doing everything right and everything you're supposed to do, but you're still not progressing or you're stalling and you don't understand why, I don't think there's anything wrong with you or that you are doing anything wrong. But there could be some things specific to your life situation that someone else could help you with. And if that sounds like you, there's a link in the description that will take you to a short application form. It should only take about a minute or 2. And once you filled out the application, it will only be about a day or 2 before I reach out to you and we can schedule a call and see if maybe we're a match for working together. I keep my client number very low because I want to give the best quality to my clients. I will never have 30 clients at a time. So if you're serious about this, don't wait too long. I only have a couple spots every month. And if this video helped you, share it with someone who needs it. It means more than you know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.